Hey, what's up, guys? You often hear me talk about this concept of becoming the strongest version of yourself, and the foundation upon which that is built is the 4 layers of strength. I've mentioned this often in my videos, in my newsletter, in my blog posts, and I even created a report that a lot of you guys have, a book. I think it's like almost a 100-page book, I believe, about a lot of the content associated with each of the 4 layers of strength that support you in becoming the strongest version of yourself. So you know it's neuromuscular strength. It's probably the one that I talk about the most. That's the first layer. That's the most superficial layer. That's what's going on with your muscular system and how the nervous system affects the muscular system. And then there's physiological strength, right? And that's the second layer of strength, and the one that I probably speak about the least, because I got to be completely honest, I am not the greatest expert in that. And in fact, I'm not very well versed in it at all. It all has to do with hormones that have these crazy names and digestive issues and all types of like icky stuff as it's associated with dysfunctional physiological stuff, right? So clearly, you know, I don't sound too intelligent talking about it, because quite frankly, I am not. But you also know that I am deeply in love with the idea of energetic strength, and that's where I spend most of my time studying, and a lot of the stuff that I share with you guys in this channel that seem a little wacky and off the wall come from this idea of body psychology. That actually happens to be my greatest passion right now. And the work that I study and the ideas come from this concept of bioenergetics. That's for a totally different call. That's for a totally different set of circumstances for us to discuss. And then obviously the 4th layer is what we've called presentable strength. I've called it professional strength. It's essentially the idea that spawned the non-job movement, and this is basically how you go out and you share yourself with the world. So you grow your strength in the first layer of strength, in the first layers of strength, and then you go and share that with the world, or inspire others to become the strongest version of themselves. That's what the 4th layer is about. Now, the reason for this call is a bit strange, and you guys probably haven't heard me in this context very much, if at all, if ever, and that is me as the interviewer wanting to bring you the ideas of someone that is clearly more advanced in their knowledge than I am in one of the layers of strength. And obviously that's going to be the 2nd layer of strength. If I sound redundant, well, so be it. 2nd layer of strength is physiological strength. It has to do with the health of the digestive system, the detox pathways, and the hormones, so much really interesting, cool stuff that affects all of the other layers. I call them layers because each one is built upon the other. They all affect each other. They're all working together to support you in becoming the strongest version of yourself. And now I want to bring you as much information as I can through this interview with my brother, Eric Hulse. And he's going to talk to us. I've got a couple questions here that come straight out of the Advanced Physiological Strength course that we created a couple months ago. Some of you guys may have not known that exists, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to create this interview also. So quickly, I mean, if I gave an introduction of my little brother, it's going to sound like Big Brother talking about his little brother. That's never cool. So, Eric, really quickly, tell our listeners, right, a little bit about yourself and what makes you so fascinated in with this idea of growing stronger physiologically.
Well, first, I want to say hi to everybody, and hi, brother. And a little bit about me. I am a holistic health coach, so I'm a Czech certified, and I'm also a functional diagnostic nutritionist, and that's really where a lot of the information we're going to talk about tonight comes from. So it's basically looking at your body and seeing your body as if you have some type of dysfunction, right? We're talking about becoming the strongest version of ourselves. A lot of times when we go to the doctors, and let's say we have something wrong with maybe we can't sleep, or we have a skin issue or digestive issue, we get, we are given a pill or a cream or something like that to cover up the symptoms. So the thing with physiological strength is that we have to really attack the root issue, and that's what I'm going to really be discussing tonight, and that's where my background comes from. So it's understanding the root cause of the malfunctions that are going on with our bodies, fixing those root causes so that we can become stronger physiologically.
Okay, cool. So, one of the things that I don't like talking too much about, and I don't think too many people like discussing, are like nasty little things that are going on with us. First of all, we don't admit it. We don't admit, like, I have had this fucking rash for the past 10 years. I can't get rid of it. Nobody wants to admit that every time they, every meal they eat, they've got heartburn and gas, and, their wife can't stay in the same room because they stink so much. They don't want to admit they've had dandruff for the past 10 years. And you know what, quite frankly, I'm going to the gym every day. I'm pumping up my muscles. I'm drinking my protein shakes. I look good with my tank top on, my spaghetti strap with the nipples showing. And you're telling me about dandruff. I just use some Selsun Blue and it goes away. I really don't care. Well, it's not that simple, correct? I mean, if these are layers of strength, and this is directly beneath our neuromuscular strength, it kind of assumes that your physiological weakness, although it may show up with some of these weird symptoms like, rashes and bad breath, can affect your neuromuscular system. Is this correct?
Yeah, for sure, because all those things, those disorders, those malfunctions you're talking about, like dandruff or heartburn, there's a deeper reason why that's happening. And all of those things equal stress on the body, right? And when stress is present, and we have a hormone called cortisol that, when stress is present, cortisol is present, right? All of our other hormones responsible for repairing the body, healing the body, are shunted. They're turned off, or they're diminished or lowered. So if you're trying to get stronger in the gym and you're trying to, increase your 1 rep max or whatever it may be that you're trying to do there, if your body is not able to repair itself and it's not given the hormones it needs to get stronger, soon enough you're going to plateau and you're going to just get more stress on the body. You're going to try to go to the gym more, you're going to try to lift heavier, and a lot of the times that equals more stress. And it's this big cycle, this big roller coaster, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
I don't know if this video is actually up on my other channel, but you and I visited Paul Chek a couple months ago, and it was just a lot of fun talking to him. He goes on and on and on about this stuff. I mean, he's turned both of us on to this idea, and I don't think I've heard anybody speak so passionately about physiological strength. He doesn't use that term. He calls it holistic lifestyle coaching and things of that nature. But But he went on some really funny rants about bodybuilders who are, they can't get it up. They have to take blue pills in order to have sex with their girlfriend, but yet they'll spend 2 hours in the gym building their biceps. And he kind of alluded to the fact that, look, there's only so much, I'm using my term again, physiological strength that your body can produce. And if you're giving it all to your biceps, then you're giving up either your potency, you're giving up a liver, you're giving up other things in order to allow your body to build that muscle, build that strength. Is this correct?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the same like you're saying with the stress. It's like you're so stressed out that your body. I think if you remember correctly, because you've taken a lot of his courses after. I mean, I've taken his course like 10 years ago, and I was reviewing some of it recently, and I think there are 3 priorities for your body to consider. And none of those 3 are actually building muscle or strength. I think the first is, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the first is to de-stress the body. Number 2 is to detoxify the body, and then I think is sexuality, or to vitality of the body. Is that how it went?
Yeah. I mean, you have to de-stress the body, because if your body is stressed out all the time, you're in that fight or fight mode, right? Like somebody's chasing you, or you have to run away. You're in that mode. And when you're in that mode, that fight or flight mode, the last thing you're thinking about, your body's thinking about, is digesting food and, like, getting laid. Like, it's not thinking about that. It's thinking about getting you to safety, alertness. It's keeping you out of danger. Your body doesn't care about anything else. So if you're constantly stressed, whether it be from in a poor relationship or you're over-exercising, you have a bad boss, you hate your job, all this stuff equals stress. And just from our society and what we're living in now, so much of us and our bodies are just overwhelmed. And like I said before, when stress is present in the body consistently, the hormones responsible for repairing your body, for putting you to sleep, for sex, all this stuff is shunted and lowered and diminished.
Right. So your body, your body thinks. The physiological response in your body is as if there was a lion chasing you, correct?
Yeah.
So your body doesn't know.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So your hormones, your glands don't necessarily have the eyes or the sense to know that, okay, this stress is coming from the fact that my boss is demanding this report be on his table by Friday, and why don't you come in on Saturday? Okay, like all that stuff. Your liver doesn't understand that. Your hormones don't understand this, but they respond to it in the same way as if that you're being, you've got a gun to your head, or you're being chased by a tiger. And I can imagine, like, if you put it in that context, like you're just being chased by a tiger, your body's definitely not thinking about digesting food, right? You want to build muscle, you want to be stronger, you actually have to digest food, but your physiology is damaged because you're stressed out. You're not digesting that food properly, and if you're not digesting your food properly, you're not assimilating it, there's no way that you're going to reach your full potential. And I know a lot of this goes in one ear and out the other when you're 17 years old, but I can tell you, I'm not that far ahead of you at 34. Of course, for some people it sounds like I'm getting old, but I still have a lot of life in me. My children are still very young. I can tell you that shit doesn't last. You get to a particular point where life is a lot more stressful, right? Now, we all have to support ourselves financially. We all get into relationships. You might have children. You might have a business. There are all types of stresses. I mean, you could make yourself sick with stresses. You could watch the news and decide that, because the government shutdown is going on, that, there's going to be anarchy and chaos, and someone's going to come in and steal all my money, and the dollar is going to collapse. You can really make yourself sick. But being able to handle all that and still have a healthy, good-looking body is only contingent upon having a strong physiology, correct?
Yeah, and it's funny you said that. Okay, 17-year-old, it goes one ear and out the other. I was working with a client, and he was 19 year old, and his issues were he had some skin issues, and he also had low sex drive at 19, when you're supposed to be like your budding sexuality, trying to just get everything you can. And this kid had no sex drive, and he had very poor skin. So both of those right there are a red flag that there's a deeper issue going on, and it's not to be ignored because, that's very on the surface stuff. You have, let's just say you have acne, you have a low sex drive, you can't go to the bathroom, or maybe you go to the bathroom too much, right? Those are all signs that there's something wrong, and if you don't get that taken care of, it spirals out of control. And then you're 35 years old, and you have cancer, or you're 50, 55, getting ready to retire, and you have all these joint issues. You can't move properly. So yeah, you're young, you're in the prime of your life, and you're could be damaging your body for the long term if you turn a blind eye to it right now. You got to wake up to it.
Well, considering that building muscle and strength is way down on your body's list, as we just described, if you're 19 years old and you've got horrible skin and you can't get your dick hard, I guarantee you that if you're, and here's the thing then, now, because I know what it's like. You're 19 years old, your skin looks terrible, and you just feel horrible about yourself. What do? You turn on YouTube for some videos about how to build some muscle. You know what? I can't get my skin right. I can't get a girlfriend. I'm going to go build some muscle. I'm going to turn it all around. I'm going to start working out today. And it seems feasible, right? It's like, well, of course, there's one thing I can take control of, and that is I'm going to go and work out. How could that possibly be? And I'm asking you now, like, you would think that's a good idea, but based on our discussion, it's kind of like, that's probably a bad idea.
I remember when I was younger, like, I don't know, 19, 20 or so, and that's when I really started to look at my body and try to build my body up and try to get stronger. And I was doing all that, and I did exactly what you said. I went on YouTube, I found videos, I saw what these people were doing, and I was like, I want to look like that, I want to be like that. But at the same time, like, I had horrible gas. Like, I had horrible gas at this time. And I was like, oh, this is just life. Daddy has horrible gas, so I guess I have horrible gas too. So I didn't pay any attention to it. And I'm watching people, and it's not to say that the people you see online can't instruct you properly. Like you, of course, you're instructing people properly. But, taking all these supplements that you don't need to be taking, eating foods that you should definitely not be eating if you're looking to bulk. I mean, you know more about that stuff than I do. And if you're doing all this stuff just to build muscle and to look a certain way, but yet you're constipated and you have horrible gas and, I don't know, you can't sleep at night, that's your body telling you that, okay, you need to stop all that pretty stuff and you need to look at what's really going on within your body. There's something up in there. There's something going on. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're spot on. It got me thinking, like, when you're checking out at the grocery store, or you go to like the bookstore and you're looking at like all the magazines. This is so funny because it's human nature to ignore this shit. Nobody cares about their health until it's gone, and as it's on its way out, we just ignore the signposts. You'll notice that like the majority of the magazines are like Shape magazine, Muscle and Fitness, Muscle Media, and all these magazines associated with having pretty bodies, and everybody's on the cover looking jacked and strong and lean. And then like over in the upper left corner somewhere, like in the back row of magazines, there's one tiny little one that's called Prevention. And it's got like, a picture of like some fruit and a piece of broccoli on it, and no one buys it. It's not like up in the front. There's no promotions. It has very few ads. It's just like, what the hell is this magazine doing back then? I remember studying marketing when I wanted to become a trainer, and it was like, you can't sell people health. You absolutely cannot sell health. You have to sell beauty. You have to sell this look. And it's such a falsehood because that outward manifestation of a beautiful body is only grown and sustained in an environment of strong physiological health, strong health. You can look good for a little while, especially when you're young, but as the symptoms start arising, you will have to take notice because as your digestive system falls apart, your neuromuscular system is going to fall apart, and you're not going to look that pretty. I've got friends that I used to be in college with that, when we were in college, we'd be eating like, I remember we'd go to the diner and we'd get this platter of 2 cheeseburgers and we'd get a bowl of gravy with it and we'd get chocolate milk and we'd eat this at like 3 o'clock in the morning after like drinking beer, right? And let me tell you, man, we were jacked. We looked good. We were jacked.
Yeah, I remember that.
What? I was a player. And I ate like that, and of course I became a personal trainer, and I started studying health, and I got involved with what Paul Chek was teaching, and even my entire mindset about what it was to be healthy or even look good went out the window, and it was all about how to be as healthy as you can. And I made some serious changes in my lifestyle and my diet that I carry through and I teach my children today. But I've got friends that we laugh about college and we look back with nostalgia, and it seems like it was just yesterday. But you look at them now and, like, they're horrible. They're fat. They're sad. They're on pills. They're depressed. And I'm like, dude, you're eating the exact same way that we did when we were 19 after drinking a keg of beer, bro. You've got to change some shit up.
Right. Yep. And I think it's great that you as Elliott, you attract a younger crowd. And you attract all these young kids who are looking to get stronger and who look up to you. this is the time in your life right now, you know, when you're young, to really develop this inner strength so that when you get older, you know, you're 30, 40s, you're going to have to work so hard to repair what you're doing now within your body. You know, I have clients who are on, like, a buttload of supplements. They're on very strict diets. They're on very strict lifestyle protocols just to repair your body, because your body wants to repair itself. You know, if we give the body time to repair and regenerate, it wants to do well. You know, it wants to keep us alive. It wants to keep us healthy. But a lot of times we continue to damage it with all these, you know, these toxic foods and these toxic drinks, and not getting to bed on time, and not over-exercising, and finding time to relax, you know. It doesn't, you're right, all that stuff, it's not sexy. It's not going to sell. But the people that, a lot of people that you do see on those magazines, they're sick-fit people. So they look great, and you're like, damn, I want to look like that. But inside, their bodies are breaking down. They're having poor liver function. They're having poor digestive health. Their hormones are all out of the place. And like you said, if it's not changed, and if you don't work on fixing all this stuff, you're going to find yourself later on down the line popping pills every 2 seconds, putting a cream on that nasty patch that won't go away. You have some medicated shampoo because you have dandruff, and you have to have breath mints all the time because your breath smells, because your insides are rotting, you know. So you have to think of it down the line, and not in this particular moment. You have to look into the future as to what's this doing to me and my body. I'm putting this in my mouth. How is this going to turn up? You know, if you put something in your mouth and a day later you have like a big zit, you need to know, okay, that's not the food for me. Or if you eat something and you're going to bed late and you're constipated, you have to look at those things. They all match up. Those are malfunctions, and our bodies aren't supposed to have those things. It means something's wrong.
Well, I think what you're saying is probably the most difficult part for people, because we've become so detached from our bodies that we don't even know when our body is telling us that we did something wrong. I mean, I know, of course, we all know people who just think like it's a part of life to take Prilosec. Like, no, like heartburn is just kind of like a thing I have. It's genetic. I have a genetic predisposition towards this. Now, realizing that, wait a second, did you notice that your heartburn wasn't bothering you yesterday? Yeah, it comes and goes. No, motherfucker, it doesn't come and go. Did you notice what you didn't eat yesterday? Oh, yeah, we didn't eat out yesterday. I was kind of too busy, so we didn't. Okay, and now your heartburn's hurting today. What'd you do today? Oh, yeah, we ate out. Oh, really? Does it come and go, or do you decide that you're going to have heartburn today and not? They don't put two and two together. They don't see. It's like, you know, you're creating this shit. You've got to be able to listen to your body. And when I talk a lot about bioenergetics, it's mostly emotional and feeling, and, you know, what's going on with you psychosomatically, you know, your psychology. But the same is with physiological strength. You eat a food. I know this because I'm not perfect in this regard. I just have to kick myself every time I know I'm doing what is not going to work out for me, like beer. Like, I cannot drink beer. Like, I want to drink a beer, and like my friends are having a beer, and it's like, man, that cold beer looks so fucking good. And sometimes I'll have the beer, and then the next day I'm like, God damn it, I feel like shit. I got a headache. I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I could sleep all day. I'm bloated. And it's just a mess. But at the same time, it's like I'm empowered enough to know that, okay, I'm paying for this sucker right here. You've got to know, if nothing else, I've heard someone say that awareness in and of itself is transformative. You at least have got to know how the choices you're making are affecting you. That way you're empowered enough to choose not to do it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and like I don't know, I'm throwing Daddy under the bus here, but, you know, I always thought I had bad gas because I was like, all right, I grew up, Daddy kind of had bad gas. So, like you said, I thought it was hereditary. I was like, all right, I guess that's up for me. That's it. I have bad gas for the rest of my life. Oh, well. And then after I changed my diet completely and I took out particular foods, it's like it went away completely. You know, so our bodies, and listening to your body, if you're having achy joints, you can't sleep at night, you're moody, you have digestive issues. Those are not supposed to be. You know, those aren't. It's sad that now it's normal because of the way we're treating our bodies and the lifestyle that we're taking, and we're popping pills all the time. It's normal, yes, in that sense, but that's not how our bodies are supposed to function.
It's funny because most people think that's just, I've got a shortage of. It's funny how the medical system and our quote-unquote scientists, that they're all bought by the pharmaceutical companies, give us these fancy terms for, like, these diseases that we have. Basically, you're a victim of some sort of imbalance that you were born with, and it's definitely not your fault. You were born this way. And then people just kind of accept that. And it's like, well, I have no responsibility of my own. I was born with a condition that requires that I take these pills for the rest of my life. I think that's the most disempowering position to ever come from. I had this conversation with Colleen yesterday. But it was, actually it was today, and I was talking to Chris. I was like, basically, like, whatever results you're getting in your life, whatever circumstances you're getting in your life, it is of my opinion, it's my conviction that the first place you look is yourself. Everybody wants to look outside themselves. Oh, the government is doing this. Oh, the USDA is doing this. Oh, the pharmaceutical companies are doing this. Oh, the processed food manufacturers are doing this. Oh, my parents and their DNA, and I've got bad genes, and the environment. I mean, on and on and on and on. We list all of the things we could point to as the culprits instead of doing the one thing that is really the most empowering thing that you could possibly do as a human being in any circumstance. I mean, Viktor Frankl did it while he was in a Nazi concentration camp, and that is take responsibility for yourself right now.
Yep, for sure, definitely. And I think that you putting yourself out there the way you do, you say that quite often, and it's great to see, especially the younger crowd, turning on to that, taking responsibility for you and your actions. You are responsible for when you go to bed at night. You are responsible for what you put in your mouth. You are responsible for the amount of time you exercise and the amount of time that you relax and you do some type of meditation type of work. You're responsible for the way you respond to your nasty boss. You're responsible for all that. And if you're doing it in a way that's healing, we've come to a point where I think we have to look at whatever we do within our bodies, am I healing my body or am I destroying my body? Because just from the environment and the pollutants that are in the air from the environment, the way that we have to work to create a family and to build our lives, it's very stressful. So because that's just the way life is for some people right now, everything else we do, we have to do it to heal ourselves. So eating nourishing foods and learning to take time for yourself and relaxing, even if it's 5-10 minutes a day for some deep breathing, and just looking at life as a healing process, that alone will change your mindset into, all right, I need to start listening to my body. What is my body telling me? I'm tired. Okay, I need to go take a nap. I don't need to go exercise right now. Oh, my stomach is not feeling right today. What did I eat yesterday? What can I eat today to help repair that, And those are things that I do teach in the course, foods that are important for you to eat and to put into your bodies to repair the damage that toxic foods and toxins have been doing to ourselves.
Okay, wait, so hold on. Now, if we're going to talk about nutrition, I think this is where the majority of us are coming from. It's, we need enough protein so that we can repair our muscles, from our workout. We bust ourselves up in the gym, got to eat enough protein in order to repair the muscle.
I don't want to cut you off, but just going with that, just in case I forget it, here's why this is important for you to get. Elliott just said eating protein, right? Everybody's worried about the grams of protein that they're eating, and they get it from all different ways, from real foods, from supplements, from wherever it is. But if your digestive tract is ruined or it's becoming ruined, you're not going to be absorbing all that protein and digesting it properly and assimilating it, and there's no reason to eat all that protein and to get it from here and there if you're not absorbing it properly. So you have to fix your gut, very important to fix that in order for you to assimilate and digest properly. And also, you could be eating all the protein in the world, but if you're not getting enough rest to repair and to allow your hormones and all that protein soon enough to repair your body, you're doing all of that work, and it's like, all right, I'm not really growing now. I'm going to the gym, but I'm not advancing. I'm not recovering the way I used to. Those are all signs that you need to backtrack a little bit.
Right. So there you have it. Like that's kind of what I was getting to. Is like, we're focused on our macros and how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat, and it's like I know a lot of guys bust their ass trying to get the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbohydrates. They're doing everything by the book, scientifically designed nutrition programs, and they're doing it the right way, but yet the results don't come. And what I hear you saying is that you've got to take a step back even beyond the macronutrient ratios. You've got to look at your physiological strength. Now, we're talking a lot about this, and I don't think we'd be any more convincing. I think we've done enough time convincing. You've got to heal, you've got to deal with, you've got to strengthen your physiology. That second layer of strength. It is what is underneath. It's the foundation upon which your neuromuscular strength is going to grow. Now, what's the first step? Let's say I hear you guys talking. It's like, yeah, you know what? I think some of my systems are a little screwed up. I don't think my digestive system's right. Yeah, you know what? I am kind of tired all the time, and I don't sleep well at night. Well, what do I do? How should I start? What's the first place to look? What kind of habits and behaviors should I engage in?
Well, when I first work with people, and I take on a client. A lot of people are coming to me with fatigue issues, digestive issues. The first thing I look at is how their hormones are balancing. Are their hormones completely out of whack? What's going on with that? Are they in some type of adrenal fatigue, right? So if that's taking place, your hormones, I'm talking about cortisol, the steroid hormones, cortisol, our sex hormones, DHEA, all these different things, melatonin, growth hormone, that are responsible for healing the body, right? So if that's out of whack, our hormones are basically like the rulers of our body. They're the rulers of our body. If those are off track, then we start to see things like fatigue. We could see things like joint issues, digestive issues, insomnia, depression. All these things start to come up because our body works as a domino, all right? And we have three systems that we really need to work on to really build physiological strength. So we have hormones, which are the master control. We have to balance those out. They let everything else know how they're doing. Then comes the digestive system. If your hormones are out of whack, your digestive function is going to start to fail. And you'll start to realize you're getting sick more because our immune system, a lot of our immune system is in our gut. You'll start getting sick more, not recovering from sickness, like you feel like you're sick constantly, like a low-grade sickness. You are going to have things like digestive issues, like we were speaking about earlier, constipation, gas, bloating, diarrhea. All these things start to happen within the body, and it leaves your body open for all of these things, these creatures to start attacking you. So you might have something like a parasite infection or a bacterial overgrowth within your gut because it's not strong enough to ward those things off, right? Our immune system is starting to be coming under attack. And once all that starts to happen, our next body system, which is our detox pathways, which is a lot of liver function. We're not able to ward off all these bacterias, and we have something called leaky gut, which is exactly what it sounds like. Your intestinal lining starts to open up, and food particles and all this nasty stuff starts to come into our blood, and then our liver has to work on filtering all that out. And a lot of times, our liver becomes overwhelmed, you know. It's like our liver is like an amazing organ. It's an amazing organ, and it could take a lot of beating up, but it could only take so much, and then it gets overwhelmed, and it starts to back up. You know, it's like a sewage, you know. It starts to back up into our bodies because it can't filter all this stuff out. And then we start to get all these issues, fungus on our fingers and on our toes, jackets. All these things start to surface, and it all begins really within the hormones, balancing those out and really getting them functioning properly.
Wait, so do we just assume? All right, so I'm listening to this, and like, quite frankly, I'm all fucked up. So I'm hearing you, and I'm depressed. I'm like, this dude is making me sound like I'm gonna die. My life is terrible. I've got everything wrong. Right? I mean, honestly, because I know that the first time I came across a lot of these ideas, I was, like, paranoid as hell. Like, oh, my God. Like, I thought every time I got caught a cold, I had a parasite.
Mm-hmm.
So let's be practical here.
Yep.
What? Let's say some of these symptoms are showing up in me. What's the first thing I should do?
Well, I always look at diet, for sure. You know, what are you eating? What is going in your body? Are you eating foods that are nourishing your body, or are you eating a lot of toxic foods? You know, when I say toxic foods, I mean like processed foods, toxic oils, and fats, things like Paul Chek likes to say the four white devils, which is pasteurized milk, table salt, refined sugar, and refined flour. You know, all these things cause a lot of inflammation within the body. There's a lot of gluten in the foods that we're eating, and gluten is really going to attack the intestinal lining. And like I was talking about leaky gut syndrome, it opens up the tight junctions within our intestines, and food particles begin to come through, right, and cause a whole havoc within the body. So definitely start with diet. What are you eating? Are you eating organic foods? And I know not everybody can, but it's really important to look at where your priorities are. What are you spending your money on? You know, if health is really important to you, do you need that $500 phone? You know what I'm talking about? Do you need that, or can you put it somewhere that's going to really build a strong body? So looking at diet, getting in a lot of, and I'm saying ancestral type foods, which are very healing, like a lot of fermented foods, and I go more into the course. But if you stay away from processed foods, and if you eat it, if you can dig it out of the ground, pick it off a tree, or if you can hunt and kill it, awesome. You know, that's a good place to start. So looking at diet, and also at lifestyle. Are you getting to bed on time? Are you allowing your body to relax from your day? If you're going to the gym and you have like this really tough workout, the next day are you doing something like a work-in type exercise, which is some deep breathing, or, you know, walking, yoga, things like that, you know, to really bring down the stress so you're out of that fight or flight mode so your body can really start to heal itself.
I think that's really important. I mean, you hit on two things. First was obviously eat real food, and I think this has become more and more of an idea that most people have accepted over the past few years as the information has opened up. So I don't think you have to look too far. Most people, I'm assuming, sometimes my assumptions are wrong, know what real food is, and you did a pretty good job of describing it. Now, here's another one. You started talking about exercise. Mm-hmm. This is one that I know is a lot. It's really tough for a lot of us. I know for myself, it has been, but it's the only real reason why it was tough is because I've let my ego guide my training more than my body in the past. And what I tell people to do, and what I do myself now, is I balance the parasympathetic type exercises, growth-stimulating exercises, with as much breakdown catabolic exercises that I do. So if I'm weight training, and I bust my ass in the gym, I mean, you guys watch my videos, I beat the shit out of myself. But what you don't see, because I don't make videos about it because it's not sexy to watch, is me doing yoga, is me stretching and breathing, laying on the bioenergetic stool for like 20 minutes, just opening up my breathing pathways. You don't see me taking those walks in the morning. You don't see me practicing some qigong exercises. These are the things, even just taking a walk, barefoot walk on some grass or on the beach. But I can't make a video about that. You can't sell magazines about that. There's just not much to it. It's not sexy at all. But it's the other side of the coin. You can't want to have all heads and no tails, and that's the tail. You can't have all day and no night, and that's the night. You need that nighttime parasympathetic work in, like you said, type exercise. And I think the only way we can emphasize it is just by talking about it, encouraging people, and I try my best to show you that I actually do it. Like I said, not about maybe 1% of my videos show me doing it, because no one's going to want to watch me walking for an hour. You know what I mean? But that's going to make the biggest difference in a lot of you guys' life. It's going to be, are you doing exercises that help you grow as opposed to breaking you down? I didn't mean to cut you off, but that was an important point.
No, for sure. It's that yin yang, you know, that the balancing of the energies. And you spoke about like catabolic and anabolic. You know, you do need to bust your ass in the gym. Sure, if you want to get stronger, definitely. You're forcing your muscles to break down so that they can repair and grow. But you don't get stronger in the gym. You get stronger when you're allowing your body to rest and to heal and to repair. That's when you're really going to get stronger, because you're allowing your body to do what it needs to do to repair what you just did in the gym.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So what else is there? I mean, I think those two things, at least there are two things that I can focus on personally. One more of I think what you said was one of the body systems was a detox pathway. Was that correct?
Yeah. So
I think the simplest thing, just from my own experience, I think the simplest thing and the most profound thing that I've ever heard with regard to keeping your body free from toxins is drink lots of really clean, healthy water. And I think the phrase goes, the best solution to pollution is dilution. And if one thing I make sure happens in my house with my children, because believe me, it's not easy. I've tried my best, but, I don't want to be that parent who's, kids can't have cake at a birthday party. It's like, were you going to screw them up socially and psychologically so that they could have healthy physiology? It's all, it has to all work together. It's like, no, my kids are going to eat birthday cakes and Twizzlers when they go to birthday parties and stuff. But they drink a ton of water, because I know it's cleansing out a lot of their toxins. So we've got diet, which we want to keep whole food. We've got exercise that you want to balance with parasympathetic type exercises. Let's get one more thing squared away before we wrap it up.
And you want to go into detoxification? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, I guess so, right? Because that's the third of the three?
Yeah, sure. Just like you said, definitely getting in the water, because your body needs the water to flush out a lot of the toxins that we eat, or just from environmental toxins. Half your body weight in ounces is a good place to start. And our bodies, yes, we have our liver, but also our skin is a major organ of detoxification. So, and that's why I kept on going back to, okay, you have skin issues, because if your liver is backed up, a lot of times your body will try to detoxify itself through the skin. So you might have, like, horrible acne. You might have jock itch or some type of fungus on your toenails, or psoriasis, eczema. Those are all signs that the body is trying to detoxify itself. So it's going to do it through the skin. Also, I know that you talk about your bioenergetic breathing. Respiration is definitely a way to release the body of toxins. So getting in some really deep breathing, go back and watch some of Elliott's videos on that deep breathing, getting your lungs clean, sweating, which I'm sure you guys do a lot, because we're going to detoxify again through the skin and getting some of the toxins out through our sweat. So those are definitely some things that you can do.
Cool. All right. Now, the very first advanced course I ever created was a recorded workshop. At the time, I was calling it Strengthology, and I intended to do a whole certification and stuff. But I don't know. I got wrapped up with doing other things. But we were lucky enough to have recorded one of them, and I call it Advanced Neuromuscular Strength. A lot of you guys have this already. You've watched how powerful that information is, all about muscular imbalances and program design. There was no way I was going to sit down and create a physiological strength course, but it needed to be created because it's one of the four layers of strength. The third layer stuff I can create on my own. I'm kind of in the middle of doing that. We'll see if and when that gets done. But I realized one day, I was like, my brother's a freaking genius when it comes to this stuff. He's in a lot of the courses that I would have taken if I had the time. And why don't I team up with him to create an advanced physiological strength course so you guys have all the information that you need in order to support your physiological strength. Listen, for me, this is the most confusing topic. But the way Eric breaks it down in this course with the PowerPoint presentations, he uses a lot of cool pictures to describe things, charts and graphs. And then what's really important is there are take-home action points at the end of every module. And how many modules are there? There are 4. 4 modules. What are the 4 modules?
There's the module on balancing your hormones, there is gut function, there's the detox pathways, and there's also a small module on thyroid health.
So with each one of those, again, sometimes it's like speaking Chinese. It's like, well, there's all fancy terms, what's going on there. Each one of those modules, Eric put a bunch of assignments and take-home points, things that you can do. I think there are a ton of assessments in there as well, correct?
You mean like tests and things like that?
Yeah, just ways for people to know, am I screwed up or is it just in my head? There are some tests, correct?
I give a lot of resources, and a lot of the resources that are in the course you can look through, and there are certain tests in those resources or assessments, that you can go through and you can take to see where you are, how your hormones are functioning, how your gut is functioning, and things like that.
Cool. So, it's a great place to start. I've had it, we've released it a couple months ago, and it's been on sale for 50% off since then. At some point, I may or may not increase it, but right now you can get it for 50% off. I'll put the link. It's always in my description, but I'll annotate it to this video also if you're interested.
And we also have some really awesome interviews as well that I did with some amazing people like Paul Check. We did an interview on parasite and fungal infections, which is not a pretty topic. People don't want to talk about creatures living within their guts, but you got to clean all that stuff out if you want to be, strong. You can't have a parasite eating up all your food and pooping in your gut and expect to be strong, right? So we talk about that. We talk about that with Paul. I go into the gut function with Sean Croxton, which he's, really knowledgeable on these things. I took the same course he did, the Functional Diagnostic Nutritionist course, so that was a great interview. Amir Rosick, we spoke about sleep and how important that is and the function sleep plays within our health and becoming stronger. And also detoxification with Troy Casey, the certified health nut. I go in with him, which that was a fun interview. Troy is a fun guy. Yeah, cool.
So there's a ton of interesting stuff in there for you guys who happen to be interested. It's definitely not a course for everyone. It's not sexy. It's not entertaining. But if you're a geek like we are when it comes to becoming the strongest version of yourself, then this is going to be something interesting for you to get started with, because you can really take this as far as you want. I know I've spent tens of thousands of dollars with Dr. Kalish getting my poop tested and my spit tested, and
you want to talk about not sexy. Imagine scooping poop into some vials.
Yeah, and there's one smear. I'm sure you've done it. There's a smear
test.
You take a little thing, you smear your poop on this paint. Oh, it's horrible. But, you know, I'm a little fanatical about it. Eric recently just got certified to be able to do all that stuff also. You can, if you decide after watching all the videos in the course that, like, man, I want to take this further, because there are always people that want to take it further, contact Eric through the website there, and then you can have all those tests done. You know, it might just be something that you're curious about. Definitely not something everyone needs, but those of you who are like a little paranoid or just really fascinated with this, that you could take it to that step. So that's it. I'm happy that we've been able to put this together. Look, more than anything, I just feel like it's a responsibility of ours. You know, Eric, I'm talking specifically to you. Like, we have these ideas. We can support people with them. We have clients. But to put them all together in a course like we did, it's not like, you know, of course we can earn some money on it, but it's kind of like our responsibility. Like, people need to know this stuff. And I'm happy that I was able to team up with you to put it together so that people can have this information. And they can never be like, oh, I didn't know, because then everybody fails.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, a lot of the information could be a little heady, but I present it in a way that you can grasp the concepts and you can start applying the lifestyle and dietary changes, you know, pretty much after each module.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, thanks for taking the time out to do this. Thank you to you guys that are listening to this. It's probably not one of the more popular topics on my channel, but I know that there are definitely a solid percentage of you guys who are heavily invested in becoming a stronger version of yourself, and you know just how important this topic is. So I'm grateful for you guys listening thus far also. That's it. Anything else, Eric? You want to give your website? Is it Eric Hulse?
Yeah, just my name, erichulse.com, yep. And on my Facebook page is Eric Hulse Wellness. You could check that out as well. I'm pretty active on there.
Cool, and we'll link all that up in the videos and stuff. And that's it, brother. You have a good night, and I'll talk to you guys listening next time.
See ya.
Cool. I'm gonna turn off the recording, and then I'll just say goodbye to you. Let's see.